Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today I have a 4v4 custom match on the map, SETON'S Clutch. I'd like to shout out to all of the people who made this possible for reaching 100 plus subs. I greatly appreciate all of the support, the comments, the likes, anything and everything. I greatly appreciate it, and this is in thank you to you. And for those of you who haven't subbed yet, if you've been enjoying my content, I again encourage you to do so. So let's go ahead and introduce our players for this match, starting with the northern team of Team 1 in the rear guard air slot. We have Foley, the Crimson player, going Aeon, going first land, most likely second air here pretty soon. In the beach slot, we have Free Riot going first land, probably second air, and then third navy. He is blue, and again, he is Aeon going first land. The Cliff player, we have Sir Traylon in pink going first land, second air. And again, he is the Cliff player as a UEF in pink. And last but not least, for Team 1, we have Czar JC going first land, already on the move to that Slender Causeway, getting all that mass and scooping it up into his coffers. He again is going Seraphim as purple in the central land slot. So for racial disparities for Team 1, we have 2 Aeon, a UEF, and a Seraphim. They're missing the Cybern Tech in their toolbox. Down here on the southern side of the map for Team 2 in the rear guard air slot, we have Old Poet going first land, most likely second air, well, pretty much guaranteed second air. In Crimson Green, very good choice of color. Again, he is a Cybern in the air slot for Team 2. Here on the beach, we have, well, he's already on the move. We have you as a UEF in Royal Blue, going first land, second air, again on the beach slot. For the cliff slot for Team 2, we have Nori going first land, second air, building that transport to get that island off his coast over there to the north. He is dark gray, and again, he is UEF in the cliffside slot. And last but not least, I have to like scroll over to see him. Accidental Aeon, not an Aeon. We've casted him before. Going first land, second land, third land, all land, day in and day out in red. Again, he is UEF, and he's already on the scene. These comms in the center are going to get some early damage on one another after getting some reclaim. Again, this is the spot to be in the beginning of the game, getting all that juicy reclaim into your coffers and producing machines of destruction. Some early shots going down against these players here in the middle, but again, very early damage isn't going to mean a whole lot unless he starts getting, or either player starts building up some forces to help assist in that combat scenario. Again, this is a 20 by 20, lots of room. Again, SETON'S 20 by 20. If you're not familiar with it, probably the most famous map of the game. And you have these 2 ponds here on the northern and southern side, as well as the center causeway. A lot of the action in the beginning happens in the center causeway. A lot of the players focusing on ecoing up, as well as getting some factories and build power situated for the long road ahead. Again, this is a higher rated game. We have rankings from 16 to 2400, with the 2400 residing on Team 1 in the Crimson player of Foley. We have the, I wouldn't say semi-recent change in the meta, but I guess change, semi-change is kind of subjective. Depends on how long you've been playing or watching FAF. But the beach players move in to support the central causeway to help either tip things in their favor or stave off a huge push to allow that early reclaim to be claimed into their coffers. And now we have Accidental Aeon receiving fire from 2 comms instead of just 1, with Free Riot taking a shell or 2 from these logos here, these T1 artillery. And you can see comms, all 4 comms, half of the players in the game fighting it out for the center causeway for this reclaim. Still have a Salem wreck, and as well as a bunch of these unit wrecks to, or these land unit wrecks to scoop up. Free Riot saying to his allies to move. Czar does drop into the red sub. 3,000 hit points. Riot being used as a meat shield to help stave off the incoming fire from both of those players out from Team 2. And because of that, Team 2 can secure the rest of the reclaim. We do have a radar system and a engineer out to build that little extractor and go after the rest of the reclaim. But again, that position is most likely going to be run over by both of these comms. Both of the cliff players getting their respective islands to the north and to the south, building up naval factories as well as extractors to jumpstart and accelerate their mass incomes. Speaking of mass, let's check on the reclaim game as of right now. Looks like we have a 5k differential being highly attributed to the mass gathered in the middle section. You can see the total mass generated. Pretty much the only reason of the huge deficit between the two is because of that reclaim. In reclaim, one of the most important aspects of the game. Lots of mass up for grabs, especially later on. So you just got to keep a handle on it. The more you play the game, the more you get a handle on it, the better you get a feel for when should I spam out a bunch of engineers and when should I hold back and just go for straight damage on the enemy team. But you gotta always have engineers available. That's just how it works. Gun, speed, and range going down for the comm of Czar. You notice it's kind of hard to tell from a large or from a zoomed out look, but you can see what upgrade he's getting, at least in terms of what arm. It's going for the right arm. You can see the kind of sparks, a lot of that purplish blue color kind of fizzling off around it, kind of indicating that that comm is going for at least a right side, right arm. Usually that's a gun upgrade. The left arm is usually a engineering upgrade, and the chassis could be RAS, could be a tactical nuke, could be teleporter, could be a bunch of things. Or no, it could be the telemaser too. Here we see how the comm of Free Riot is using his engineering arm to accelerate the upgrade speed. And again, I do love the fact that the developers went for a very unique design for all of the two arms. Just goes to show that realistically you wouldn't have the same arm do the same task. It would just make sense. I mean, obviously we see it and it makes sense, but anyway, it's an interesting stylistic choice for the game as well. I mean, in the story they've been fighting for 1,000 years, so a lot of people have experience with what's going on. I'm like, this has worked, this has not worked, we should do this instead of that. Again, 1,000 years, we'll do that to you. A huge T1 land army being built up and being sent with the two comms out from Team 1. And Accident Aeon's like, I'm going to grab as much mass as I can, and whatever I can't grab, I'm just going to run. That center line starting to be more and more pushed back for Team 2. Like my zigzags, like my art. He's getting a fire base up here to this semi-choke point. I mean, the choke point would be right here, but he doesn't have enough time. It establishes a fire base up here to help stave off any sort of run-bys or any pushes. We do have the comm of you returning back to base, getting a whatever that was. I think it was a rock or something. And all of the T1 tanks pushing in on the comm of Accidental Aeon turn away. I guess they were getting bottlenecked, which is probably what you don't want. Because a couple overcharges and a lot of those tanks are dead. So then repositions and then goes back in for again, but allows that shield to come online. Radar being established, and the comm of view comes back out of the water to help assist. Combat going down here in the middle. We have two comms for Team 2 and one comm for Team 1. Pushing that front line of Team 2. A lot of those tanks going underneath the shield. That'll help stave off a lot of that incoming fire. And it looks like because of that tactical move, a lot of the army of Team 1 is not being that effective in pushing the line and has decided to retreat. Com of Zara also retreating as well, saying this is not what I thought this was going to be. Overcharge going into its chassis, and it's now again in the yellow once more. Almost sub 3,000 hit points, drops into the red, sub 2,500 hit points, and is taking lots of fire. Sub 2,000. We even have a frigate off the coast dealing some damage as well. Sub 1,000. Sub 600, or sub 700, excuse me. Sub 600. And does a little bit of damage to that frigate. Sub 500 and gets back underneath that water. We even have a shot from the skimmer helping out against that frigate. And that's going to be a decent amount of mass dropped onto the doorsteps of Team 2. It's going to go right into their coffers, and I would probably put it towards, again, mass extractors or upgrading to T2. We have engineers all the way out from Old Poet going for a factory. Most likely engineers or something. I don't know what his thoughts are. Maybe helping in the land game, maybe? I don't know. We do have T2 achieved for accidental as well in the form of these pillars. Naval engagements starting to occur for the northern pond. We have a couple frigates and a sub. These frigates cannot shoot back against that sub, so that is just free damage on those frigates. So you gotta always have at least a couple subs in tow, just in case your opponent goes full spam sub. Again, like I said, there isn't a whole lot of action in both of the ponds because a lot of it is just build up. We're at almost 12 minutes. Again, we've seen our early aggression in both of the ponds, but not a whole lot has gone down. Looks like Team 1's southern pond player of Sir Traylon still spamming out those frigates. I would like to see a T2 upgrade going down here pretty shortly. Gonna need those destroyers out. Gonna need those cruisers out to help stave off torpedo bomber rush. Looks like we have, again, the same thing going down over here on the beach player's side of you. His comm is still walking back from the action going down in the mid section portion of the map. T3 on the way for Nori as well. Looks like he's gonna go. He doesn't have any factories in his base. Maybe he's just gonna spam out kennels. That would be my play. Maybe he'll go for nuke, maybe he'll go for Novax, maybe he'll go for just any sort of eco rush or anything like that. We have the air grids for both players down here in the south and most likely the north, getting their ASF production right as rain and all spammed up. Folly going for a RAS upgrade. I don't know the timing on how that all works with the RAS. Usually I see that about 20 or so minutes, but so I feel like 13's too early. I don't know. Answer down in the comments if you know when you should go for RAS as the air player, because I feel like 13's a little early, but it could not be early. I don't know. Again, answer down in the comments below. And again, thank you so much to everyone who helped me reach 100+ subscribers. I mean, it was last week that I reached 50, so I greatly appreciate it. As of recording, I'm at 123. So again, I thank you so much. And even if you don't subscribe, even if you don't like the video or comment down below, even if you just watch the video, I greatly appreciate it. Any and all support from each and every one of you, I just greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. This video is for you. I wanted to cast a very good game. I wanted to cast a high level game, and I didn't get a whole lot of feedback from my community posts, so I figured what game would I want to watch, what game would I appreciate watching, especially after that YouTuber I've been watching for a little bit has reached 100. This would be the type of game, type of match that I would want to watch. So again, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get back onto the action. ASF's being used to take out those torpedo bombers in the north. Again, that's why you got to have a sub or two to help stave off these enemy subs because that's just free damage on all of your frigates. You're not getting anything in return for that. We have radar under construction, not under construction, under an upgrade going for Omni. Omni is very important because you get a wide berth of intel. I mean, obviously it costs more energy to run, but you know more things, and knowing is, I'd say, more than half the battle, honestly, because the more you know, the more you can prepare for it. Or wish you had prepared for. One or the other. I don't see any effort to go for T2. That 15 minutes, I feel like T2 should be a priority, because on Team 1's side, T2 has been achieved and is being spammed up as we speak. Looks like Foley directing his team to get an Omni online. Again, getting a wide berth of intel that is now online for Team 2. And you can see the range that this thing has. I think the red line is what it knows like it knows what the unit is. No, because it doesn't show these ones. It shows all the units in that wide berth, almost the entire map. Don't know what the red line means. I can't remember. Answer down in the comments what the red line for the radar means. We have the Calm of Tsar underneath the shield hanging out. Just not doing anything. Just, you know, recovering some hit points. He's smoking a little bit, but, you know, getting some repairs down. Looks like Foley kind of directing his teammates, telling him to push. Looks like he's going to come in from the northern section and then come down. If U does not pay attention, that will allow all of the forces from Sertralan to attack while limiting the amount of forces being able to attack for U, putting you in definitely a bad position. ASF production again in full swing for both players. Spamming out all of his ASFs. Let's just take a look very quick. Also getting some restorers out as well. That's going to be an interesting play. We have 40 out from Foley, excuse me, and we have 18. So a 2-to-1 ratio plus restorers. That's looking very dangerous for Team 2. Calm of U hanging out, helping rep up his economy. Looks like the red player of Accidental Aeon tried to help in the naval game, but unfortunately all of these forces out from Sertralan coming in and being like, no, not gonna allow you to do that, sorry, see you, bye. And wiped out. He is helping in the northern pond as well. That's pretty much the trend, is you have the early engagement in the mid, and then it's like, I'll go help Navy now. It's pretty much the standard meta. These naval forces sieging the factories of Team 2. Explosions in the foreground. See all those engineers hurriedly trying to establish some line of support. They're going for that T2 up. I think that's T3 upgrade, excuse me. So skip T2 pretty much entirely and went straight to T3. I don't know how much that's going to benefit him, considering his enemy is literally on his doorstep. But maybe if they get that Neptune out pretty quickly, maybe this will help stave off enemy forces. But again, we have this flyby coming in from the south from these gunships going after the resourcing options of the blue player, keeping some of the restorers in the back line, ensuring that these defenses and mass extractors are taken out. Restorers coming in, dealing a decent amount of damage to that outlier of a Mechs here, just kind of all by itself. But pushing into the back line. Looks like going after air player. Very sensible move, ensuring that the air player does not build up as fast as you do. Would like to see more of a priority focused directly on the Mechs itself. Yeah, there's some anti-air in the area, but it's not a whole lot. And the rest of the ASFs for Old Poet are taken out by the escorting ASFs from these this air player of Foley. Excuse me, my brain. It's sometimes no work sometimes, so I do apologize. Takes out one Mechs. I mean, that's something. It's better than nothing, but the rest of these ASFs could come in and clean that up. I'd say, was it worth it? I don't exactly know. Took out 1 mechs for the air player and took out a couple mechs for the beach player. Devoted 1 restore to finish off that mass extractor. Again, was it worth it? I don't know. But coming in to support the naval push here out for the southern pond. This Neptune doing its darndest to help stave off enemy forces, but all of these destroyers are just going to be too much for that Neptune to handle. And especially with this restorers out, a combined push again in the southern pond. Good to see. Yu says, no, I'm out of here. See ya. Decides to control K. The situation is unrecoverable and decides to bow out. Again, that's very disappointing, especially for Team 2. That's APM, that's experience, that's a whole bunch of things just going out the window. You could have easily retreated to the land and hoped stave off maybe a land incursion future on. But I understand that it's very disheartening, and it just sucks to have yourself being kicked out of your position. I mean, 20 minutes is pretty early, so I mean, it is disappointing. It does suck. I do sympathize with them. But don't leave. Try to at least recover. Try to at least to help out any else way you can. Because you're in it as a team. You're not in it as an individual. More pauses going on. Looks like, again, more communications between players on both teams. Very important. If you're not on comms, if you're not using Discord or anything of the sort, ensuring that everyone kind of knows the game plan and what the dealio is very effective. Large wing of torpedo bombers. Man, like, games with torpedo bombers is just, there's a lot of those lately. Looks like Foley's asking for some cruisers to be spammed up, most likely in the southern pond. Yep, to ensure there's no push out from torpedo bombers, considering he moved the rest of his air forces to the north. And Sir Traylon saying, okay. We have Ras going down for the purple comm of Tsar. Sure, and he gets more resourcing options as well. And that huge wing of torpedo bombers coming in from that northern section. Look at the skies just being filled with them. That massive turn. Oh, they're like, no, that's not what we wanted. We turned too early. Sorry about that. Okay, now we'll turn. Coming in against that UEF naval force. All of that Aeon plasma being thrown at them. And again, those torpedoes are away. Going after the cruisers, going after the destroyers, going after those bulwarks, any and all defensive or offensive capabilities, at least the tech-wise, those are the targets. Those are the targets I would go after. Take out anything that can fire back at you, and then take out the highest value targets next. We do have some destroyers out from the red player of Accidental Aeon, offering somewhat of a distraction, pulling away those other auxiliary defensive forces from Tsar as well. Ras underway for Aeon as well, getting more resourcing options. Destroyers along the shoreline coming in, take out some, I guess, just some power generators. I guess that was a radar at some point. Taking out a mass extractor. Again, using their short range firepower as a way to take out anything on the near vicinity. And using the cliffside to their advantage by hiding from most of the PD. And then they're going to fire their cannons at them here pretty shortly, taking out this fire base, clearing the way for any and all traffic to move forward undeterred. That's pretty much what happens in the middle of the map for SETON'S. Is just this area just kind of just sits. Especially the higher rated games. It's like, okay, got the reclaim. Okay, put a fire line. Okay, cool. Next, move on. I mean, just because you can send, bomber spam, you can send a whole bunch of things to deal with this land spam that might end up coming down one way or the other, and it's not really worth it in terms of resources. You could put that towards helping out the Navy, helping out the air. So it just depends on where the game is headed pretty much, and especially if your team doesn't control both water or both ponds. Because, you know, just a decent size of Navy on one side is going to shell any and everything moving in either direction. Again, not really worth it, and I understand that. That wave of torpedo bombers making it all the way to the back line, taking out the HQ, taking out the auxiliary factories, taking out anything and everything that will just make life for Nori very, very difficult. Would like to see a little more effort put to these cruisers, but these destroyers are mopping them up anyways, so not to worry. Take a look at ecos once again. We're tied at 1.2k. However, Team 2 is leading the total mass generated by about 185. So that is going to make a huge difference as time goes on. Do we have anything spicy going down for Team 2 now that they've lost a player and they're kind of on the back foot? We have a strategic missile launcher, and we do have an experimental. We'll check on that in a second. Out from Nori, assisted by some kennel stations, these drones that they spawn in, as well as a bunch of engineers, and spamming up those kennels, getting that build power. It is mobile and it doesn't fly super quick, but again, you don't have to deal with pathing for those ground units. We have air grids being spammed up in 2 different locations, diversifying and I lost the word for it. What's the word for it? Splitting up all of your resources, not putting all of your eggs in one basket, to use the text from my last thumbnail from the last video. Comms going into the water, very good move to avoid detection. Do we have anything spicy going down? We have a bunch of T1 PD for some. Oh, I guess they're defending the SMD. Again, putting it against the mountains, a very good move. Natural shielding allows the if there's any bombers coming in from the southern direction, prevents the bombers from hitting their targets. You see that line of sight is very hard to hit. Very smart move out from the pink player of Cetralan. Do we have anything else? I mean, T3 naval edge quarters. We have no. There's really nothing in the back line. Getting an SMD, that's very good to see. That 26 minutes, I'd say it's pretty good timing. But I say that, and I put my foot in my mouth because that nuke just launches. And it is headed towards the Navy player. And unfortunately, that nuke is going to land. It is not loaded, and unless they had every single piece of engineering tech on the field right here, spamming up this SMD, it might hold it off in time, but it's already crossed the midway point. Flying over this naval headquarters, we have ASFs in position. We have some strat bombers coming in for a lineup on something, taking out the ASFs that might deter those strat bombers. This nuke is going to land. Let's get down, get a ground view, watching that nuke come in. Boom! Takes out all of those B-gens, all of those factories, takes out all of the core mexes. That's just a huge blow to Team 1. Those strat bombers come in, they go after the Calm of Riot, take him out as well. So that is a kill on the cards for Team 2, and a deathly blow to the air grid as well. All in all, that was a very well-timed effort, bringing in those ASFs to secure that bombing run, as well as pretty much ensuring that no ASFs are produced for a little bit. SAM's being produced now, but again, too little, too late. And that now brings the game back up to a 3v3. It is now tied in terms of players left alive. The remaining ASFs for Team 1 hovering over cruisers and other flak from the ships. The ASFs do engage, but there are way more ASFs for Team 2 and from Old Poet, and all those ASFs are mopped up, and that is a complete 90% air control for Team 2. T1 bombers being used against this chicken. That was the experimental build earlier. Strat bombers, T1 bomber spam being used to destroy that chicken bot. Takes out that T3 factory. That's going to be a blow to External Aeon in its efforts to help out the northern pawn. Chicken trying to run, but the chicken's not going to get anywhere, unfortunately. It's going to just get eviscerated by... Look at all those bombs. Just look at them. Just look at all those bombs. Just being shelled constantly onto that chicken bar. The anti-air on that experimental isn't really very good. It's meant more for gunships that don't really move. And yeah, it can take out bombers, but it's meant for slower moving targets. We have a bunch of these cruisers lining up on the shore, using those long-range missiles of those governor-class cruisers. Look at all those missiles. Look at them. Look at all those missiles. Where are they storing all of them? That's just so many missiles. Like, sir, where are you storing them? Oh, I do like how they come out of, like, sequential holes. That's actually a pretty cool detail. They just don't come out of the same hole. That's really cool. Anyway, they have, like, a bag of holding for missiles or something in there. But looks like the defenses for Team 2 in External Aeon are not up to snuff, and they're taking anything and everything out.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke, a second nuke out from Norway. You can just look at the range on these cruisers that they can attack. Just look at anything pretty much in this outside yellow ring. Just devastating. Where's that nuke going? It's going towards the secondary air grid? No, it's a little too short. In terms of the angle. Is it going for... There's an SMD. Oh, it's going for that one. Let's zoom down and get a good view of that. Boom! Takes out P-Gens, takes out Mass. Barely ekes out a kill on that SMD. A lot of those engineers are still alive. But just takes out any and all defenses. Very well planned. Again, that intel game must be on point because they gotta know where the SMD are placed. We have a Novax that's been built, hovering over. That's going to provide a lot of intel for Team 2 because it provides a pretty much a small, like you can, it's not a small, a decent size view of what's down below. Those space lasers are very effective. Mobile, cannot be targeted by anything. The only way they can be defeated is taking out the comm station, the Novax Center, from the UEF. Battlecruisers showing up on the front line for Accidental Aeon, helping stave off this huge naval fleets from both Folly and Tsar. Pretty much Team 1 has been like, yeah, Sir Translin has this. He has the Navy game. He'll be fine. The land spam, the beaches of Normandy section of the game have begun. All of these factories primed up, producing T1 units, most notably those Lobos. Very effective at taking out land targets, and Team 2 has not been prepared that well. Using strat bombers, mass strat bombers, I might add you. Just to shell anything and everything. Coming out from Team 1. Man, I have like some congestion in my nose. I do apologize. Again, Folly constantly giving his teammates direction, and I appreciate the fact that Team 1 is saying, okay, fine, you're the highest rated player, you know what you're doing, you have a better grasp on the game, just because he's higher rated, probably played the game for longer, could be a bunch of reasons. And he's like, hey, here's some tips, this is what you should be doing, and they're like, go for it. And that's how I like to view things, is if you guys have an idea, if you guys have advice, if you guys see something that I can improve on, go for it. Just spam the comments. Just anything and everything you see, just throw it at me. Because the more I learn, the more I get better at this, the more the casts, the gameplay in terms of like me moving my mouse around, getting these nice cinematic shots, getting more familiar with the units, anything and everything helps create a better video for everyone and anyone to watch. And I didn't get a whole lot of feedback on my community post I made about what I should do for the 100 plus subcast, but I thought, okay, high level match, definitely something I would like to watch. Maybe SETON'S, because I haven't seen a SETON'S match in a while from him. Usually SETON'S matches are crazy, lots of stuff happens, and it's a map that a lot of people know, so you're going to be mainly focused on the strategy part of the game and tactics and all of that. So again, that's my main goal of this channel, is to improve everyone's ability to think critically, to strategize, to plan, to improve at any and all game, because I have the opinion of any game can teach you strategy, and you just got to find how they teach it and where they teach it. And again, this nuke coming in, let's get a nice shot of this, lands right on the edge of that cliff and takes out any and all units on this island, takes out the factories for both the water and the land. All the engineers besides these ones are dead. Leaves these 2 mass points, but hey, it's going to be a while before that island is back up to snuff. We do have a missile submarine, a strategic missile submarine at that, on its way to the front lines. That's going to be used for some mobile nukage. But yeah, strategy, one of the most important things in any game, especially RTSs, because literally the S in RTS means strategy. But even COD, even like a mobile game, anything and everything can teach you strategy. You just got to find how it teaches it. Oh, looks like the comm of Czar does go down as I'm giving a spiel about strategy. That now makes it a 3v2 in favor of Team 2, a second kill by Strats. One Strat survives, tries to attack a nice tractor, deals some damage, and then gets promptly shot out of the sky. Folly exclaiming in chat, why are they not in the water? Again, the water doesn't save you from everything, but it does save you from being spotted by a bunch of stuff. So again, that is a good tip for anybody playing any Forged Alliance Forever match, is go in the water and make sure you don't get spotted as much as possible. It's pretty much it. So, anyway, any game can teach you strategy, and I look at it like you take aspects of one game that you learn, apply it to another game, you take what you learn in that game and apply it to the next game, and eventually you just get better and better and better. And that's what I aim to do for myself, as well as any and everybody watching, is I try to help everyone improve their ability to play the game, to understand how the mechanics work, to get better at just any and all aspects. So again, we'll stop there for my rant on strategy and teaching it for now. Let's get back to the main action. With the death of Czar, all of the naval game has been transferred over to Folly, as well as obviously the air game. That's going to be a lot of APM to use. These sub-hunters being used en masse. They can be countered by a decent amount of Krugers and these destroyers, but they put out a lot of torpedoes, these Vespers, and they just shed the hit points on these shields. Once they get in past the shields, that's it. That's game over for a lot of these ships. These frigates have no defense. These destroyers have some defense, but not a whole lot. These cruisers have no defense, so a lot of these ships are just going to take a huge amount of damage. Would like to see more submarine defenses online for Team 2. And the land spam has been worse, has been getting worse and worse for Team 2. Spamming up those servers, anything and everything they can throw, even the kitchen sink. The hills are just flooding with these pink Lobos and anti-air units coming over the mountains and just wrecking everything. A lot of that air grid has already been taken out. And as you can see, T1 Lobo spam, T1 artillery spam, very effective. Especially if you can just constantly send forces to the enemy base. There's not a whole lot the enemy player could do. Old Poet doing his best, spamming up those P2PD, making sure he has anything and everything at his disposal, and it looks like he's able to stave off some of the bleeding. But it looks like Sir Trilla is going to group up his forces and send them in one push. He's at least pulling back his anti-air, though, probably trying to invoke a response from these bombers. We have the comm of Accidental Aeon moving into support from this northern section. We have that secondary air grid has been taken out, and a lot of these forces are either going to go northward to the base of Nori or turn back around and avoid the PD from Old Poet. I always want to say Dead Poet when I see Old Poet, in honor of the movie Dead Poet Society. Very good movie, by the way. We have a Tempest almost under construction, almost online for Folly, getting that massive amount of hit point and long range firepower down. Noi building another experimental. That is his first Fat Boy, excuse me. He has 3 Novaxes. Doesn't look like he's prioritizing much of anything else. He has a shield on his comm to help protect against some strat bombers or other damage that comes from the skies or the ground. Foley builds that Tempest as we discussed a bit earlier. Where is his comm? Oh, it's back. It's over here in the, not even near his side of the map, just hanging out. He knows his teammate has full control of the Navy in this southern pond. He is not worried about it. That's a very good move. Putting your comm in a place where your opponent doesn't even bother, wouldn't even like, oh, I wouldn't even think to put my comm there, so why would I look there, kind of thing. Again, 2400, you got to think outside the box. And just because you're not a 2400 doesn't mean you can't think out of the box. It's just the 2400. The higher rated players have more experience with the game, or, you know, they rose in the ranks really quickly. Like, Old Poet does control K. That most likely was just a control K. The situation was not recoverable. Just death was looming on all sides. I do apologize for missing it on screen. Accident Aeon. I don't know if he's going in to just do a last man standing kind of thing, but he's shooting that that little dirt there. It's not you're not doing anything there, bud. I know you have a RAS upgrade on your comm, but you're just shooting the ground there, so not really doing a whole lot of damage. The shots coming in from these run-by Lobos are just constantly taking off these hit points, dropping them down to the yellow. We have more and more Cerberus being lined up. Would have liked to see maybe some built on the hill, because you can see the range on the you see the range on these things. You could have put them at least maybe over here, but Excellent Aeon is down to the red. Sub 1000 hit points pretty much. Sub 500, sub 200. Boom. That is the death of Excellent Aeon. It is now a 1v2 with Nori, the last man standing for Team 2 down here. Spamming out these Titans, very effective at taking out Team 1 spam. They're very fast, very rapid fire units. They have shields to help prevent some damage. We have these missiles, still these missiles raining down from the skies from those cruisers. And it just goes to show you, cruisers are just very good, especially the UEF ones. I'd say they're even better than the destroyers, at least in terms of long, obviously in terms of long range. But their versatility is a lot more wide. With destroyer, it's just I can stave off some torpedoes and I can do a lot of damage to ships because its range is not super great. We have these battleships retreating and a huge horde of sub hunters that, I was gonna say artillery, but that aircraft carrier being taken out. Not a huge deal for Folly. He does have, again, this air grid, which is going to get nuked. Do we have any SMD on that path there? Looks like there may have been once an the SMD was there, and then it was taken up by the satellites. It's a very interesting move out from Nori. He's using his satellites to take out the SMD, then he launches his nuke to ensure none of the nukes are wasted. That's a very good move, taking out radar, taking out auxiliary stations. Now focusing on those big, huge targets. We're taking out all the outliers, and that leaves less and less defenses and options for the other team. It's a very good move, and that nuke, again, is going to land. those last ASFs off the line, leaving. Some of them do die in the explosion, and the second air grid is down. The one T3 factory is alive from that initial grid. I don't know where the HQ was. It most likely was in that mix if I were to guess. I don't see it anywhere else. Yeah, that air grid, that air factory was destroyed. I don't see it anywhere. That is definitely a deafening blow to Team 1. SMD again being spammed out once again. But those Novaxes, unless there's something that Team 1 does about them, will just constantly target all of the defensive structures. Because look, now they're targeting the P-Gens, getting that AoE damage out, taking out, planned shields. Taking out the P-Gens takes out the energy that the shields have, which means they're able to target stuff like the SMD a lot more effectively. So instead of saying, we're going to target the thing we want to destroy, they say, we'll target the thing that provides the power that allows this thing to stay alive. So again, a very good move, thinking a couple steps ahead. Very important in any game, especially RTSs. That land spam constantly being a problem. It's making more and more inroads, but it looks like Nori might have a handle on it. They haven't reached the main base as of yet. He has built some Ravagers in the back line just in case. Looks like he's having some shield problems, some power problems. He almost has another nuke loaded. A missile out from... Are you kidding? Wait. What is it? Oh, that's probably from these missile submarines, which already has a nuke loaded. I was going to say, it cannot reach that far. But the tactical missiles from those those strategic missile submarines can reach all the way to pretty much like to his base pretty much. So, and again, they've noticed no TMD, which means those missiles will hit every time. Again, that Team 1 Lobo spam making more and more inroads, but the PD comes online, those Ravagers, and I don't expect a whole lot of work to be done from that. It's just mass being thrown at the enemy just constantly. I know they don't cost a whole lot. They only cost 3 mass a second. Or a tick. Is it tick or second? I think it's tick. Yeah, tick. Minecraft has ticks as well. Anyway. Not a whole lot of mass to run all those factories. Another nuke out. The, what was that, 4th nuke? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5th nuke out from Nori. This one, again, is going to land, because like I talked about earlier, goes for the P-Gens, takes out the energy being stored up to protect the SMD, then targets both of the SMD, and this is just going to land. So Nori being very strategic with what he's doing. He's doing A, then B, and then C. Seeing B, the nuke launch, and devastating firepower used against his enemy. Targets that quantum gateway, takes out any and all future resourcing options in terms of RASCOMs for the time being. Takes out a decent amount of RASCOMs as well. Is calm running somewhere. Where is he going? Up here, I guess. I'm surprised to not see T3 Artie. I'm surprised to not see maybe, other Yolana Oz or any of those experimental end games. It's just Team 1 land spam, Navy, and nukes with, I guess, some Novaxes. That's really about it. There's not a whole lot going on in terms of that high octane gameplay. But again, this is also incredible. The fact that you have all this land spam and Nori is still holding out. You know, Team 1 took the southern pond very quickly, fully now literally in the middle of it. You have on the northern pond, you have Nori starting to make inroads, but it's 46 minutes and he still hasn't taken over the northern pond, which is a credit to Foley and, of course, Free Riot and the land player of Czar. Again, lots of work going down for Team 1. And Nori's just, he's hanging on. He's not out of this game quite yet. If you can nuke any and all infrastructure for Team 1, that's pretty much game. Which I guess what is his goal is, but he's focusing on Titan production as of right now. Which again is a smart move, considering you have... I just want to count. How many do we have? 430 Lobos, and we have 800 mech marines. Over 1,000 T1 units, and they're all on the southern side of the map. That's so many. Sir Trillin, and again, comment down below if I'm saying his name wrong, could easily control a lot of these forces and just reclaim them and put their mass into something else. I know you like spent the mass to make the unit, but you're not using it anymore, so why not? Lobos are getting into the main base finally for Team 2. Starting to do some early damage. Those Lobos again deal massive damage to structures. I would like to see a couple more shields built up for Nori. Yeah, he's using his Kennel rover drones to assist the shield, but we'd like to see at least a little more coverage here. Prevent some strap bomber rushes or attack missile rushes or anything of the sort. Or even just get TMD, just get more defenses online. I know the APM must be just super taxing right now, but just queue up a few things and he'll be right as rain. I mean, he's pretty much operating on like 30% of 35% of the map. His enemy owns the whole northern section, almost the whole southern section, obviously the southern pond. We have strap bombers moving in. We have, how many is that? Is that like 10? 11, almost. I guess the one just built. I mean, he's staying in the fight. I know some players would have quit by now, but he's like, I'm gonna hold as long as I can. I will die a warrior's death on the battlefield, and I will not give up. I will never surrender. Comment down below if you know what movie that's from. Never Give Up, Never Surrender. Very good movie. Has a huge, not huge, but a decent A-list cast. I watched it when I was younger. It's a very funny movie. I would recommend anybody who hasn't watched it to watch it. Strap bombers move in to attack most likely the SMD. There is a secondary one down here that just loaded. Bomb goes off, impacts the shields, takes out a mass extractor and a Ravager, but doesn't do a whole lot. Strap bombers, TMD moving in, they impact the shield, they go through the shield, and they take out one of the SMD that was heavily loaded. We have a nuke eliminator, we have a T3 SMD still online, one nuke in the clip. That first nuke from that submarine has launched, it has one more in its magazine, ready to go. This one is not going to land. We have more strap bombers, these ASF rush in, be like, no, this isn't gonna happen. Decent amount of cruisers help to stave off the early ASFs. ASFs split, all the strap bombers split, and a lot of these ASFs are going to go down. That nuke was shot down. That second nuke, however, is now launched. Nori goes, oh crap, I don't have another SMD loaded. Gotta rush it. That is not enough time, and this nuke is going to land if Nori does not get out of there now. He is going down. I can't see the nuke, it's too high up. The nuke is overhead on the mini-map, and it's coming down. There it goes. Boom! 2 explosions, meaning the comm of Nori has been destroyed. That is a victory for Team 1. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you've been enjoying my content, please like it. Please comment down below on how I can improve, on any and all tips for FAF, any mods I should install. Again, all of the love, all the support, any and everything that everyone does, I greatly appreciate it. And if you've, again, been enjoying my content and you haven't subbed, go ahead, click that sub button. I greatly appreciate it. It gives me more and more motivation to keep doing these casts. Again, thank you so much for helping me reach 100+ subscribers. Again, just thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.